Hi, it's Cindy from the Osterville Library, and today this is really exciting. We have with us Nic O'Neil, and she's talking with us from California today, and we're talking about kites, which I think is so exciting. So first of all, welcome.
Hello.
I mean, this is like, fall on Cape Cod is really a beautiful time of year, and I think now with the hybrid learning system and everything, it might be a nice time to revisit kites and kiting and all that. And you know so much about it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of kites to start?
Oh boy. You can kind of debate on who invented the first kite, because kites are one of those things that we see is in almost every culture around the world, be it the Chinese and Japanese or Indian, or even some folks over here, in North America. Kites are just kind of one of those things that's been across all of human history for various uses, either art and entertainment, or things like fishing. You could help get a fishing lure further out if you used a kite, or understanding birds and aviation and kind of letting our minds soar, or even military usage. So it's really, kites are kind of one of those things that's been there through the arc of human history, and it's also helped us kind of step forward into technological and artistic spaces. So of course, airplanes is a very obvious one. You know, kites really helped us understand wind and how to make things fly, but they also helped us gather weather observations. And so the whole meteorological prediction kind of database that's out there first got started with kites. Yeah, so, and everyone knows the Benjamin Franklin story of, discovering electricity by getting shocked by a lightning bolt, which there's a big debates on whether or not that one is actually true, but it's a great story and I love it. But yeah, let's see. I've seen kites used to help build things. So like near Niagara Falls, there is a bridge that was built over the river, and they had a real problem getting the initial lines over the river to start building, and so they flew a kite and drug the line across.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's some really interesting books and a handful of videos on that, because it was quite some time ago. But yeah, the history of kites is essentially asking for the history of humanity.
I know there's a lot to it. And then, well, so let's maybe go to the simpler part of it. I mean, just giving a child a kite and going somewhere, you've seen the benefits and how it's changed people. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I am absolutely in love with kites. I embrace them. They're a part of my everyday life. I mean, I've got them hanging in the house here. My partner is a kite flyer. We really love what kite flying has done for us and what we see it do with other people. Be it a child picking up a kite for the first time and just kind of, running really fast and not giving a care for where the wind is. They're just having so much fun because there's this thing behind them, and they're really loving it and enjoying it. To performance type stuff like my partner and I do, where we go and we fly to the music and really connect with people, and we tell a story through our kite flying, to even having folks that I've experienced, folks with traumatic brain injury and strokes and other physical and cognitive disabilities and ailments have picked up kite flying, and it's really helped them in their recovery and has been kind of a personal therapy for them. So yeah,
And it's something you can do year round, isn't it? You're not, you can do
Mhm.
it in the winter and summer, fall, winter. It's not like a seasonal activity.
Nope, there is a kite for everyone in every weather. I mean, everyone would love to be on the beach and have, the perfect wind and the perfect sunshine. It's a wonderful image to have that. But one of my favorites is indoor kite flying. So it's taking a very lightweight kite, and I can fly it anywhere indoors and just have an absolute blast with that. And then also snow kiting. So I'm up in the mountains on the snow, and a big kite is pulling me along through the snow. So there really is kind of like a little niche kite for every instance you can think of.
There's a lot of the kite on the water here
Mm-hmm.
in the summertime. You know, the people sometimes they get like to fly away almost.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. So if somebody wanted to get started, I guess obviously the first thing you need is a kite, and off you go. So what if what is like a competition with kites? What are you trying to do there? I mean, what?
Um, well, it depends on what kind of kite you're flying. So the most common competition that you'll find worldwide is fighter kite competition, and these are single line kites. A lot of people may kind of recognize this from reading The Kite Runner, and other books like that, and references to that, where everyone in the city gets on their rooftops and they fly these single line kites. And the idea is to knock or cut each other's lines and knock the kites out of the sky. We see that in Brazil, we see that in Indonesia, we see versions of that in Afghanistan, Pakistan. We see it kind of everywhere. It's a very popular type of competition. And there's somewhat differences in how you do it and the type of kite that's used, but it's all very centered around that fighter kite competition. There's also more team style kite fighting that you might find in like Japan and China, where they're bigger kites and it requires a whole team of people to work together and knock each other out. And then slightly more on the artistic side, you'll have competitions of flight using like two-line and quad-line kites, and so they're very controllable, and you can make them move in the wind window, so where you're looking downwind, to music, and that's a whole other level of competition. And then of course you've got all the fun competitions of like beauty and art, speed flying. Yeah, I mean, you can think of how you want to compete, and that's pretty much kite competition.
That's great. And I think another thing important for our viewers to know is that you did a TED Talk, which I'm going to link
Mhm.
to in this video, which was really eye-opening, you know, because, you know, there's always that joke, go fly a kite. And
Yeah.
you've never heard that. But, you know, I thought some of the technological advances going forward with kite usage is very interesting, like the underwater use of
Hmm.
kites. And you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's been some progress in using kind of kite shapes and our understanding of kites and flying them underwater, and so they're tethered down to the seafloor and through what's called piezoelectric um, movement. The kites are moving through the currents just like they would in wind, and it's creating energy that can be harnessed. So it's a renewable resource. In a similar fashion, I believe it's Makani has been doing something like that up in the sky. And they were first sponsored by Google, and just here recently, they have completely released all of their plans and their learning out to the general public to take this kites that can produce energy for all of us to have a renewable resource, energy source for all of us to use.
That's great. Well, there's
Yeah.
so many fascinating things about kites that I think, you know, people weren't aware of. So
Mhm.
besides being an expert, you are the founder of Fortuna of Found. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Fortuna Found is just kind of a kite collective. Yeah, I'm kind of spearheading it, but it really is a community, and it's meant to uh, grow and share the love of kite flying with everybody. You know, and making connections between people that are just coming into kite flying for the first time and those that have a lot of expertise and kind of bringing them together. Uh, I I very much took to the whole maker movement maker spaces and, the make community, and have been to a lot of maker fairs. And I kind of wanted to bring that version back into the Kite community. So this is like a digital maker space for all of us to get together and create things that are Kite related. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I get to learn a lot while I'm kind of doing all of this.
Well, that's great. We have if you ever get over to the East Coast, we've got a great maker space here at this library. So we're always trying to do ingenuity. Is there any closing thoughts about Kite you'd like us to know?
Honestly, just get out there and try it. Don't be discouraged if your kite crashes and falls out of the sky. And that's one of the biggest things that I love about kites, is that it gives you an opportunity to play around, and the risk level is really low. I mean, if it crashes, you go and you look at it and you see what went wrong, and you can make changes literally on the fly and try again and see if that works, and then you can just kind of keep playing around with it. And yeah, you can find your niche in kiting, whatever it is. And whether you're the type of person that has a kite and you put it in your closet and you fly it once a year, or you get really nerdy like me and center your life around kites. Yeah, it's an awesome space to play in, and kites kind of keep me young is the best way to say it. They keep me learning and keep me trying and keep me kind of playing around.
Well, it's so great. And I think now, especially at this time here with our hybrid learning system, that what a great way to get kids outdoors in the fresh air, running around, experimenting, building, putting it together, figuring out the different sciences and things like that of the wind with direction and just all these cool things, and learning, making it so much fun. So I'm gonna go get a kite.
Awesome. Yeah, that is kind of like one of the other little aspects of kite flying that I really love, is I can take the same kite and I can teach it, a group of kindergartners how to build it. And they're just really excited because they put this thing together and they drew a unicorn on it, and they're going to go out and they're going to fly, and it's awesome, right? And then I can take that very same kite and I can teach it to 10-year-olds. And the 10-year-olds can start to understand maybe a little bit more about wind and dynamics, but they're very excited, and it's the same level of excitement as the kindergartners. And then I teach that same class to a bunch of adults, and we get into the scientific side of it and the technical side of it, or maybe we get into using different materials, and we really get down into the nitty-gritty, and they're just as excited as the kindergartners. So everybody gets the same level of enjoyment out of it just by tweaking kind of how we talk about it, but not tweaking the kite itself. And so, yeah, I really love kind of that aspect of it.
Well, you also bring up a good point. It's so intergenerational, I mean, and it's great for families, extended families, everything to do together. It's just wonderful. I appreciate your time so much today to bring us up to date on kites, and we will link to your webpage, and I'm going to link to your TED Talk, and I'll see if there's other good stuff we can link to from you. But I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad I got to talk to you from this coast to that coast.
Maybe we'll fly a kite and meet halfway.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.